would you say that the team that showed up is what fans should expect?
Well, I think that it's encouraging from this standpoint is that you're able to see the offense if they are firing on all cylinders. If Jalen was able to pick up that information versus pressure and or variety of fronts and blitzes, right? So that's what it could look like. I'm with you and a little skeptical on if it's sustainable or not from this perspective. It was such a vanilla defense that Lou Anarumo showed Jalen Hurts. They didn't blitz him much. It was cover two, it was cover three on first downs, and their butts were towards the sideline a bunch.
The question about Dotson, what's going on with him?
I don't think that it's him. There was a route that we talked about, Jeff, a few games back. Was it Cleveland when we discussed? He was open on a route, didn't get the ball. Actually, he was the guy that probably should have got the ball on the 1 3rd down that he threw a fade ball to AJ Brown in the red zone. He threw one all the way to the field that went over his head on the 3rd down. Jahan Dotson was the nearest and shortest throw, and he actually was open. Probably could have got that ball. So I don't think that it's a talent thing. I think that it's a scheme thing, and maybe he came in a little bit too late. But guess what? In this offense with Jalen Hurts, there's not too many guys that are going to get the ball outside of the tight end. AJ Brown and Devontae. They're even starting to move those guys into the slot so they can get them the ball more. So I don't think that it's a Jahan Dotson thing. I just think it's a schematic thing.
He just looks like our best zone defender out there in the zone. He just looks like flowing water when he's out there. Is he already our best zone defender?
Yeah, I would say that when it comes to coverage, it's the same, right? Because Fangio's a cover 2 base. Well, it's cover 4, but that's still cover 2 safeties, right? So 2, 4, and 6 is Iowa's main coverage, and they play cover 3 on first down. And so he knows all the principles of that defense in and out. Now, I would say that he's our best slot defender. I don't necessarily know outside will he be the best zone defender because there's so many different things that you got to deal with out there. You're dealing with speed. You're dealing with number 1 receivers. So I can't give him that yet because Slay's pretty good at it and has broken up some passes in off coverage. But in the slot, he's aware of things around him.
You made a catch against, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do. You made a catch against the Chargers in the early 2000s along the sideline, a one-handed grab from from Donovan, which was one of the best catches I've seen still to this day.
He shouldn't have thrown that ball.
Really?
My question for you is, I really admire the toughness that you played with playing slot and on special teams. And I just was wondering if you could talk about the mentality of the toughness that it took to play slot and on special teams and how well you did at that.
I appreciate that. I will say this, it's a different time and a different generation. And guys like me don't always get rewarded in this new generation because in this new generation, it's about the 40 time. And a lot of guys like me have been phased out of the game kind of organically because they see more value in a guy that can run fast because they can take the top off the defense. But you don't know that you need a guy like me until the game is on the line or you're on a 3rd down or 4th down. You're in the playoffs when it's needed the most. And you get guys that run real fast that drop balls or make bonehead decisions. So you don't see the need for that until then. Now, I will say this is that it's a mentality. It's something that everyone can do, but some people view it as, lesser or they look down upon it. But I think that there's every good team has it. Like, so you look at the fullback for the Niners, you look at Kittle, you look at Jawan Jennings, you look at Trent Williams. All these guys are goons. I was in that category. I was a goon type of a player. Like I protected Deshaun, I protected Macklin. I would go in and block linebackers. You need guys like that in order to win championship. The Detroit Lions have a bunch of those guys. And that's what makes the team gritty and nasty, a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes. And I just don't know that the NFL is incentivizing that anymore.
Hey, Jay, thanks a ton for doing this, man. There's a hip term in the NFL now. It's the 3rd down running back, but you are the original and only 3rd down wide receiver. felt like 95% of your catches were on third down. I want to ask you about one you made against Tampa Bay. It was on a 3rd and 17. It's, in my opinion, the greatest catch I've ever seen somebody make in any type of game. How did you make this one-handed catch? And then I want to know, what was the reaction of like your teammates and coaches after it?
All right, so thanks. So that play was 0 blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew Nick would buy time, and based on the route concept, I was the only guy that literally had a chance to make a play. I can't remember the corner who it was, but I had a beat on what he would do, and I kind of sold my route. I learned that I'm such a competitive person that I never give up on a ball, ever. And being rewarded like that from high school to college to the pros, never give up on the ball. It drives me nuts when a guy sees a ball at his feet and just like looks down at it. Like, that drives me nuts, because you can get down there and try to make a play. There's nothing wrong with trying to make a great play. One of the guys did it for Michigan a couple weeks ago, and I got on his butt pretty bad about it, because he's like a mentee of mine. But yeah, it just comes with a mindset of trying to make every play and not giving up on the ball. So I just ran as fast as I could and waited until the last moment to put up my hand. And sometimes it sticks, but you practice that and you know what you can and you can't do. But if you give 100% effort to the ball, you're able to make plays. I always say that if you don't take the shot, you don't hit anything. And that's the same way in that situation. Some people want that, some people don't.
I'm interested in choice route. So could you explain how that position or that route concept is taught between the quarterback and the slot receiver or the X receiver on the backside? How do you learn and teach that? And how do you learn to see the same thing from two different positions on the field?
It's that route is based on coverage, right? So you have to know where guys are going to be before the ball is snapped. Okay, say let's give an example. Usually on a choice route or what have you, say, are you by yourself or are you with someone? You got to let me know. Are you by yourself? Like, is the receiver by himself or is he with someone in tandem? Are they working together?
I would say your backside quarterback, X receiver, and then in the slot, on the
in the slot.
backside.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so you're in the slot. So
Yeah.
usually when you're next to somebody, you're working in tandem, right? So I'm going to be reading the inside defender, whatever. And if I know it's cover 3, I know that he's going to try to reroute me, but he has to beat me to the flat. So if I'm running an option route, if I'm going up 5 yards and I start to go out, I know that he's going to overplay the out. So now I can stop and hook up inside of him. If it's cover 4, I know that he's a hook defender, meaning that his job is going to be any hook curl, so 5 to 7 yards, but inside of me. So I know that he can't get to the flat before I can. So now I know right away I can go up 5 yards and go right to the flat, and the ball should be there because there's nothing that's stopping me there. If it's cover 2, he's also going to be inside of me as a hook defender, but guess what? The corner outside of me is responsible for the flat. So if I go out really fast, there's going to be somebody out there, and therefore it could be a pick or a big hit. So I have to go up outside to make sure the guy expands out and then just settle in between those two guys. So you try to split the difference between the hook and the flat defender. If it's man to man, I know right away that it's either 2-man or it's a robber man. If it's a robber man, meaning that there's a guy coming down inside from the safety position that's robbing everything in the middle of the field. So my corner is going to be outside of me. And so he wants to push me toward the robber guy, the guy inside. So what I would do is I would expand the guy by running outside to push him further than he wants to go. And now it creates enough space for me to get the ball before I get to the robber defender. It all depends on the coverage. So that's a lot of football right there, but you have to know that. And if you don't study film, and most running backs don't understand coverage, so therefore it's not always a good thing to have running backs do these things.
So what advice would you give to receivers playing with Jalen Hurts?
I would tell my guys, if I were the receiver coach, I would tell them that, hey, we're not going to count catches. because Jalen is, and you got to tell him what a quarterback is that the quarterback is a work in progress. We believe that he can be really, really good, but growth and development is going to have to take place. So you can't have expectations. So with that being said, let's do this. Let's make sure that you're coming out here and you're grading out at 95%. That's on pass plays, that's on run plays. Because listen, I can help you get paid if you're always open, no matter what the quarterback is doing. Right. So those are the type of things I would tell my guys in order to encourage them through time, especially like Jahan Dotson or Devontae Smith going with a game where he has -2 yards. Those things are going to happen with Jalen Hurts because he's still a work in progress. When a quarterback starts getting to the third and fourth receiver consistently, that's how you know that they're at a different level. And Jalen hasn't transcended to that level yet. So I would just encourage them that they have to be impatient, knowing that he's a work in progress, and make sure that they have other goals besides touchdowns and catches.